Welcome to Inside the Wires, hands down the best podcast in all of racket sports. Listener discretion may be advised for a younger audience.
Oh my God, this is so official.
Welcome to the shit show.
How are you guys doing?
How are you
Chris
guys doing?
And Vera.
Chris and Vera.
Hey guys, this is Vera Besanova here. Very excited to be on the podcast. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, thank you as well, Ben and Noah. I think this is like technically my second time being on the podcast, but the first time, to be fair, I don't really remember it, as Mark and I were we were having a big night over in Owl's Nest, New Hampshire, and he kind of coerced me into doing it in a tough state of mind. So I'm just happy to be here and a little more clear this time.
Well, you showered up, you're ready to go.
That's right. You showered up, you're ready to go. Did you have a league match tonight? What was going on tonight?
I had a league match tonight. We play in New Jersey. We play on Monday nights. Sounds just like you, Noah. And I knew that we had this important podcast coming up, so the pressure was on to get in and get out of there quickly. It was Cutter Central out there tonight. We were winning or losing quickly either way.
Well, that was so. My match was a makeup match.
So my match was a makeup match actually from a weeks ago when it got rained out.
Ben told me they were on.
Ben told me
8 o'clock Central, and my match started at 7.
Central. The match started at 7.
A lot of pressure to get it done quickly.
A lot of pressure to get it done quickly, but
might be my last match I ever played.
Might be my last match I ever played.
We won. So
we won. So went out on top.
So that's gotta be tough coming back and even working right after a long weekend. Right after you guys obviously went deep and had some long matches.
Yeah. Sorry, say that one more time, Noah.
No, it's got to be tough coming back and working or playing a league match or whatever after you have a long weekend.
Playing a league match or whatever after you have
obviously tired after a long weekend of playing.
Tournaments obviously tired after a long weekend of playing.
Vera, do you want to answer that?
I think so. I had an extra day, so I was a little bit more refreshed. But I think Chris was definitely hurting this morning. His eyes weren't fully open, noticing the ladies as misses, which actually I wish I would have been in that state of mind, because Monday mornings can be rough with team practices. No, but our ladies are amazing. All jokes aside, they support us. They cheer us on the live stream, and they follow the live scoring when we play. So they're so understanding when, we might be a little bit more tired or not get to so many balls as we're playing in, and maybe not hit so many shots in. And they're always just being great sports. So we're lucky to have them.
Yeah, it was a tough morning. I got back, I think, to my apartment at like 1:30 in the morning, and we had team practice at 8 o'clock. So, and we have 4 team practices on Mondays, so we go 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. straight in the morning. And then I have the league match in the evening. So it was a long morning. My body was definitely hurting. But just like Vera said, our ladies, we have a lot of really, really skilled rackets players at the club. We have members like Carrie Delmonico, Mike Stulak, people that, are just legends in the paddle community. And they know the grind, they understand it, and they're really understanding. I think a lot of the ladies were probably a little easier on me this morning, knowing that, we just went through war this weekend.
You realize as director of the program, you can set stuff up on Tuesday, correct?
Well, it's hard when all the ladies play on Tuesday.
Sure. Okay. We play Thursdays here in Chicago.
There's not a lot of. We have 4 team practices on Monday, and then we have 4 matches on Tuesday. Not a lot of wiggle room, unfortunately.
Okay.
So, as both of you guys play a lot of tournaments now, do your members like Monday morning first thing they want to talk about is what happened on the weekend?
Play a lot of tournaments. Do your members like Monday morning first thing they want to talk about is what happened on the weekend?
You know
Nope.
what? You know what the worst part about losing, like I guess earlier than predicted, I did see that like, what Mark Innes and Macy had their podcasts and they had all their predictions and you see all that stuff. And people were predicting us to go to the finals and the worst part about losing is the questions on Monday morning where, everyone's like, what happened, Chris? We thought you were gonna win and you were so close. That almost hurts more than losing because I mean the reality is those guys are really great players and I'm disappointed that we lost, but I'm not surprised because we practiced with them on Tuesday and I was really impressed with how they were playing on Tuesday and I walked off that practice match saying, man, that's a dangerous team that I hope we don't have to run into this weekend and unfortunately we did and they played super, super well. And, they just, they were the stronger team that day. So it's always, it just sucks to have to like re-explain it, so many times after you lost. I'm all happy to say, great match, guys. You outplayed us and, I'm really happy for you and congrats on a great run. But then to talk about it 10 more times after, it makes it sting a little bit more for sure.
Yeah, that's gotta suck because when I lose, I'm not on the live stream and I can lie to my members and say, I was awesome. My partner was terrible and that's why we lost. It's never been my fault. It's great.
I agree with you. Yeah. It's always on the partner.
Always. And Felipe's not here, so we can blame him.
No, he was a liability out there, no doubt.
Did miss a few volleys. I saw that for sure.
Can you guys talk about just we're early in the season, but obviously you've had a number of teams win tournaments that have done well in the past, but maybe not won tournaments yet. Talk about the depth of what the field looks like, both on the women's side so far this year.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Vera.
Oh, Noah, you're breaking up a little bit on my side. I didn't hear your question fully. I'm sorry.
I was just saying. Yeah, I was just saying. Talk now for both the men's and women's teams.
About our teams at
how much depth there is on the men's and women's side of the game. There's been some new teams and a lot of upsets.
Yes. Sorry, I don't know why, but every time I'm hearing from Noah, there's like a little bit of breaking up and like echo. I'm sorry, guys. First time here and I'm already messing things up. But
I heard you loud and clear, Noah.
Thanks,
it must just be a me problem. That's good to know. That's very helpful.
Vera, if it makes you feel better, all women don't listen to me when I talk. So.
Maybe it's something in the way in your delivery because it's coming out choppy a little bit.
It could be. I gotta give my wife a plug. It's 28 years yesterday. I had to leave the tournament a little bit quickly yesterday. There we go.
Congratulations!
Wow, that's awesome.
That is.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So talk about strength of field and depth of teams this year, if you could, on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great to see new partnerships and it's great to see that, players that are an established team are mixing things up, but also like speaking from my personal experience, like let's say in Baltimore Open when Macy and I played Allison Morgan and Charlotte Sikora, you can just see that even though they're a seasoned team, they're coming up with like completely new plays and forcing like their way of play on others. And Charlotte is so nice. So I always chat with her after the matches. And I got a chance to talk to her in Chicago a little bit about it. And, they lost there, but I thought they played great. And she was telling me how her and Allison are, really finally coming together with all these plays that just, completely use their strengths and minimize their weaknesses. And I think a lot of teams that are package deal definitely doing that. You can see like Florentina using her drop shot in key moments and, other players like finding the shot that they really love. But I also think it's great to see new teams like Spencer and Jade on the women's side, and on the men's side, obviously the team that Chris played. I have to say, I have never seen people run as fast in my life, even like on a tennis court. I was so impressed with this guy's speed, Guy or whatever his name is, the lefty. Like I thought he was twice as little as Felly and twice as fast somehow. Like, it was ridiculous, the shots that he was getting to. And obviously we have Alvaro playing with Jose this year. That's going to be a dangerous team for sure. And I think this just shows you that, you know, a lot of players, whether they're pros, teaching pros who are around paddle all the time or not, you know, they're tapping into the sport, and you're seeing a lot of young talent out there. So yeah, definitely going to be a roller coaster of a season for sure.
Yeah, I think I think Vera is totally right. I mean, I definitely, on the men's side of thing, I feel like last year there was probably, the same 4 teams were probably in the semis of every single tournament, and the same team, happened to win it every single time. And I think I definitely think that Johan and Steven are the team to beat still, and one tournament doesn't change any of that. But I definitely, there's just a different feeling about this season coming up. The uncertainty with Hughes and Powers, and them playing, and are Burris and Erdoya gonna get back together? Are they finding different partners this year? It feels like this season is much more wide open on the men's side of things, and I think Araya McNerney are like a super, super tough team. So it feels like there's more teams that, could win, a lot of big tournaments this year than last year. And then there's tons of up and coming players, that are just super athletic and super fast and super scrappy. And they're, it's just, you have to play more difficult matches to win a tournament than you have in the past. Maybe in, years past, you have to play 1 or 2 tough matches. Now you might have to play 3 or 4 tough matches, to win a tournament. So it's going to be an interesting season. I think it's great for the game to see, so many, talented players playing. I mean, I can tell you that it was almost refreshing to play a team that we haven't seen before, and just, play that kind of style of points. It was fun, than maybe playing the same team in every tournament, and kind of, I don't know, getting used to the same teams and the same style of play every time. So it's great for the game, I think. And, it's going to be an interesting season for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys think, but it feels like it's one of those swing years where it's like, Johan, Steven, Juan, Parsons, all those older guys are starting to taper off a little bit, probably a couple of years left max, and we've got all these young guys coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was interesting to see. I think, Chris, you mentioned it this morning.
And I got to tell you, I'm sorry.
I think you're on mute, Ben.
Yes. Just
now
started
you're
telling
not
us
on,
something.
now you're not on mute.
Muted.
Okay.
Go
Can you
ahead,
guys
Ben.
hear me now?
Yes, go.
Can
Good.
you guys hear now?
All right. Did you guys hear what I
Good.
said about it being a swing
All right.
year?
Did you guys hear what I
Okay.
said about it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just think, it's the end.
Yeah, so I just
almost
think,
near, with Johan, Steven, we've
almost
got a
near.
couple of years left.
Johan, Steven,
Broderick, Araya, Parsons.
Broderick, Araya.
We've got all these young guys coming up now.
We've got all these young guys coming up now.
So, it just feels like one of these swing years where everything's about to change. And, we've got you guys coming up. I will tell you, some of these new young players I'm not a fan of.
Young players I'm not a fan of.
The fist pumping and yelling, come on, after like the first fucking point of the match.
The first fucking point of the match needs to stop.
I know
Chris is on right now. You know that.
I know Chris is not the guy I'm thinking of.
We'll invite the guys on to defend themselves, absolutely. But I watched the Baltimore final.
I watched the Baltimore
first point of the match.
And it's
Vamos,
like,
come on,
come on.
Don't need this.
Don't need this.
4 all in the third. Give me a good
4
come
all
on.
in the third.
But
come on.
But, you hold serve first game of the match.
You hold
serve
first game of the match. We don't need to pump it up for that.
Oh, come on, those are my guys, man.
Come on.
Those are my guys.
It's kind of the junior tennis field.
It's kind of the junior tennis field, right?
You know, maybe, I don't know. I think, you know, I definitely, that reminds me a lot of my college tennis days, and, you know, the intensity and like just ferocity that everyone competed with in college tennis. I mean, it was, you know, it was cutthroat. You know, I mean, there were tight line calls and, you know, people fist pumping when you made a double fault, and, you know, they're just, I mean, it was, you know, that was just how it was. And, you know, you could get upset about it, and, you know, or you just, you know, had to dig deeper and play. I mean, I remember, you know, fans looking up, you know, our, you know, your family history and trying to, you know, call out people in your family while you're playing to get under your skin, you know. So I just think that, you know, a lot of these guys, they're really fresh off college tennis and they're treating it like it's college tennis still. And, you know, I mean, for the guys we played, you know, in the quarterfinals, Jose and Guille, I mean, those guys, I mean, they, you know, I still think they have a lot of room to grow as paddle players, and they're, you know, they're raw talents. And they just competed super hard. And they almost outcompeted us this weekend. So, you know, I think some of maybe their paddle skills they make up for with just that intense, competitive spirit. But I definitely think the more that those guys play and these younger teams play, that they'll, you know, probably learn to relax a little bit and keep a little calmer demeanor on the court. But, you know, I'm definitely someone who gets fired up out there as well. So I don't know how much ground I have to stand on this one.
You weren't. I wasn't even thinking of you when I said that.
I wasn't even thinking of you when I said that.
It sounds like Noah was thinking of that, but that's okay.
As a miserable old man with his best days way behind him, I'm not a fan of the fist pumping in the first game.
I'm not a fan of the fist pumping.
Yeah, we usually save it for the second game.
Besides, Chris, you know,
first game, it's all good. Second
we've
game,
already
get fired up.
We've already determined.
Hey, we've already determined. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about anyway, so it's fine. Don't listen to what I say.
All the tour events.
Hey,
and
with all the tour events now, and all the live streaming that's going on, do both of you guys watch some of the live streaming either to watch yourself or to watch opponents now, since seems like there's so many more opportunities to do it?
All right, I'll go first. Thank you. I think it's great to be able to go back and like watch your match. I mean, of course, if you lose, and I'm used to losing on the live stream, it's tough to like go back and relive the painful moments. But it's huge. Like again, back in college when we played, some of the teams had like cameras where you would record the match, and your coach would like dissect every play-by-play after the match, and you learn from your own mistakes. But it's equally as important and great to be able to watch other players and be able to tune in and, you know, watch what they do. That's just like visual memory or visual learning, I guess, you know, from learning from the greats they're playing in those finals and all of that. So that's a huge asset to the game for sure.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, I'm a big film guy. So as painful as it can be to watch, you know, yourself lose again, I think it's a really important process to go through, because I think at, you know, the highest level, you know, the difference can be so small. And, you know, when you're in the heat of the moment, it's hard to sometimes realize, you know, where did the momentum shift, or what did I think was happening versus what was actually happening. You know, and watching the film, you know, because sometimes Felipe and I will disagree on what we think was the cause of, you know, the problems when we lost. And I just feel like the film doesn't lie. So, you know, we sat down together and watched the quarterfinal match, almost the entire thing. The only part I couldn't watch was a tiebreaker because I played just an atrocious tiebreaker. I think I missed all 7 shots. But we watched everything else.
There seems to be a pattern starting from our exhibition match at Short Hill Club in summer in tennis. Well, we played
Yeah, I
against
guess
Martina and
maybe I have a
Martin.
bad tiebreaker record. I don't know.
Yeah.
Me and Vera played a tennis exhibition match over the summer against Martin and Floor. And it was an awesome, it was an awesome event. We split sets and went to a 10-pointer, and I did not play my best, and Vera has not let me forget that, I did not deliver in that tiebreaker since that day.
We're even, since I totally laid an egg in the mixed first round against Drew and Lauren. So I think we're even there. That was a tough one.
Yeah, but I think the film is, super important. So it's really nice to watch a win. That's almost like, it's like a feel good moment. But I think watching the losses is probably much more important.
So it sounds like you watch more to watch yourself, but will you guys watch other people on film to look at, tendencies and things like that as well, or weaknesses or whatever, that kind of stuff too?
Yeah, I definitely like to watch certain teams, like I'll definitely, I watched the men's finals. I watched the first set in Chicago live, so I don't feel like I need to go back and watch that one. But I definitely, a team like Johan, who, we've had a lot of trouble against in the past. If I see a team that's having success against them, I want to know, why are they succeeding? And what are they doing that, Felipe and I are not doing? So, I'll definitely watch that from time to time to see, certain things. But it's more specific. I might, if I know I have a match against a certain team, if I can pull up some footage on them before that match and watch a little bit of it, I'll do that. But I probably don't watch as much of other teams play as I will myself. And I really, we don't watch ourselves play a ton, but we definitely me and Felipe try and watch the losses and really analyze that more than anything else.
Chris, what do you think about putting a Drew Broderick's match on if you need to be able to go to sleep and you just can't sleep at night and you need something to just kind of.
That's a tough question to ask on a podcast there.
I'm kidding. Drew is a legend. We love him. But I just had to bring it up.
Drew is my guy. I really do. We work so close together. And he, I didn't know a lot of people when I came to New Jersey. So Drew really made me feel welcome, and he really kind of, I feel like he put me under his wing a little bit when I came here, and helped me out when the beginning of my time at Short Hills was very stressful and a tough time. So, having someone like him to help me and someone to ask questions about things that I'd never dealt with before, it was so helpful. But, do I think he's always the most exciting person to watch? Like, probably not. But, I would tell that to Drew's face. But I have a lot of respect for how good he is and the resume that he has. So, he certainly knows that. And you know what? Drew's one of the first people I'll ask about, strategy and stuff. I mean, I think he has one of the best brains in the game. So he's given me a lot of good stuff to think about, particularly when it comes to playing guys like Johan. I think he's the only guy that has a winning record over Johan, according to Drew's memory, at least. But it's pretty, if anyone's gonna figure out how to beat him, I mean, I think he's a good person to ask.
Both of what you're talking about with him playing slow and the style he plays, and going along with him having good strategy or being a good paddle mind. I mean, I think he's very cognizant that at this point of his life and the way the game has changed a little bit since when he and Jared won, I think he's playing the way that he needs to play in order to win, right? So you have to give him credit. It's like you may not like something, but it's certainly effective, right?
Totally. I have a question for you guys. So there's so many guys at my club, that like they will put a live stream on of Johan or Juan, because these are such flashy guys and they're so fun to watch. And they'll come to me and say, you know what, I was watching Johan on the live stream and he was doing this. And then you're trying to explain to them, you know what, like this may not be the best guy to study if you're trying to become a better paddle player. Who maybe in your mind, if you had to pick, an average club player, with, not as high of tennis skills. And you're saying, you know what, if you're going to learn how to play and watch someone play, like, who are the guys that you would tell them to watch?
It's not well, for men, but the number one player that I recommend, floor.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree on that one. I definitely think, a lot of my men could benefit from watching, the top women's players. But I think on the men's side, I think Drew and Graham McNerney are guys that, they play at such a high level and they play so smart and so disciplined. I think you can learn a lot from watching those guys as well.
Well, I said it on the podcast weeks ago, I think when made on, but I think for most men club players, like, it's kind of like when you watch an NBA game, like, most men are never going to be 7'2" and dunking balls, right? But you can, like the women's basketball game, you can imagine, taking outside jump shots or whatever, maybe that. And I think most men club players can probably relate to the women's game a little bit more. Just maybe the things that they do. And even you and Felipe, the stuff that you do is obscene. Now, that being said, I wish I could hit the ball as hard as Vera does. But
me too.
I just think, like, it's not realistic for a lot of men club players to be able to play the way that the elite male players do. But I think the style that more of the women players play is maybe more attainable, like style wise, not skill wise, but style wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I can't tell you how many ladies of the club say we want to hit like Vera as well. So we get it at Short Hills. And I just say, look, if you take a lesson with her, she'll try and teach you as much as she can.
Yeah, that's our selling point.
One lesson, you'll be hitting 120 mile an hour forehand.
Yeah, I can't guarantee that it will go in, but we do have ladies hitting it really hard. It's not always, reaching the blue part of the court, but all good. They're trying.
Here, that's a USF forehand, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, go Bulls.
Is that? There you go. There you go. So can you, maybe let's talk about that for a little bit. Obviously, Vera, as hard as you hit the ball, which it truly is impressive. And again, if you haven't watched Vera on live stream, you should, because it's. I wish I could hit the ball as hard as she did, but she does, both sides, both four. Are you? That's an intimidating shot for a man. Is that intentionally? I don't know how to phrase this properly, but is it intentionally intimidating? Like, will you, get the ball up a little bit? Will you put it in places that, gets people concerned sometimes?
That's a great question. I do think I have a level of skill where I'm not like, hitting people's heads, like, or I'm not, FYMing ladies left and right and pegging and people left and right and doing anything dangerous. And it's not really on purpose, but this brings up a good point that, Chris always tells me that I need, and Carrie and other good players at the club tell me that I need to mix up the different paces and give people different looks. And actually in Chicago during that last match, the final of the quarter reprieve, I definitely had to vary my speeds in the drive and vary the placement, which I can't do when I'm going 100 miles per hour. It works until a certain level where people are kind of intimidated by the shot, and then it just doesn't, because they know how to volley back. So this is definitely, drive is probably still my strongest shot on the baseline, but variety and, picking and choosing my weapons at the right time is definitely something to keep working on as I keep learning the game more and more.
I think if you started hitting women left, right, and center, your views on live stream would go off the charts.
Yes, maybe if the goal is to bring up the APTA numbers. I can, not only do I hit women, I did hit Chris in the back of his head during the mixed nationals, because he just wasn't taking the back draw seriously enough.
What's interesting is I played mixed nationals with Vera last year, and I got pegged more in mixed nationals than I ever have in my paddle career.
All by
every
women.
peg was by a female. I got hit by Vera a couple times. I got hit by Lauren Gebbia in the head with a return that was so so freaking hard. I mean, she absolutely drilled it. I got hit by Taryn Espinoza. So I was just getting attacked on all fronts, and I told him, I was like, you know what, I just want to play with the men from now on because they don't hit me like these ladies do out there.
The ladies are vicious out there.
Yeah, it's a different ball game out there. They're sharks.
Hey, real quick, did you guys find any differences from playing East Coast to coming out to Chicago and playing Midwest stuff?
Oh, yes, for sure. I mean, on the women's side, Ben, when we played I don't know if they were your students or it was interesting. I could tell that those players had racket skills, and it was interesting that some of the things worked because they were just so surprising. Definitely a lot more driving and a lot more aggressive overheads seen from Chicago players.
It's not what I've been teaching them.
But it might not be what you've been trying to install in their minds, but you know what?
You've obviously watched Ben play.
Yeah.
Ben is a hard hitter.
No, not in the slightest.
It's but from our first rounds where we played maybe more like club players to the top seeds from Chicago's female players side, it was apparent that there was just most players were driving more, driving 5-6 shots in a row, where in my lessons and clinics we always have a rule like no more than 2 drives in a row and stuff like that. We would expect a lob and all of a sudden it would be a great drive coming from like back of the baseline, and we were so surprised, and it was intimidating, but also just like changes your whole game plan because you're just not expecting that. But I think there's definitely some interesting things to learn from playing players that do that, but also then to take back home with you and say, all right, I don't think I'm going to do this, but hey, maybe I should try this. And, you keep kind of varying your game and, comparing and contrasting different playing and coaching styles, which is, again, keeps you learning, which is great.
Well, here in Chicago, we like to teach low percentage doesn't mean no percentage.
Yes, that's right. You gotta keep seeing the positives. Absolutely.
Well, the rule is you can only hit 2 drives in a row unless they both go over the net. Then you can keep doing it until they don't.
There you go. Great rule.
That's okay. That makes sense. That I definitely witnessed that. Yes. That is hilarious.
How about the overall, just like paddle, like not the players, but like the experience? Like I know when Noah and I have come out east, I don't know. I'm just really impressed with how professional they treat all the players. And
yes, for sure.
I feel like East Coast is better than Chicago at treating the top players more professionally than in Chicago a little bit.
Interesting. I haven't had that many experiences. So Chris, please take this.
What's interesting is well, from what I've heard, I've heard that there's not as many top ranked pros in Chicago that are teaching as there are in like Westchester or New Jersey. I mean, particularly in the state of New Jersey, I mean, you could look at all the biggest clubs and they all have a top 10 pro that's, traveling to all these tournaments, and it's an attractive selling point to these clubs to have these pros there, and they're so supportive of you playing these tournaments, and they, they'll travel with you.
Yep.
And I've been at clubs where they're not as supportive of that, and they're, instead of them being excited about you playing a tournament on the weekend, they're like, well, I had a lesson at Saturday at 9. Who am I going to take that lesson with?
Yep.
And I understand that too, because at the end of the day, like we work for the members, and we, our job is to take care of them. So I always feel like, if I'm not going to be there, I need to provide, I need to give them an option to go play.
Right.
If they want. So, I understand clubs that, want their pros to go play, and I understand clubs that don't want their pros to play. But I definitely feel like in the state of New Jersey, you almost feel like you're treated in a class above as a top pro, and they get really excited about that, and they're, I almost feel like some of my members would be disappointed if I didn't play a tournament sometimes.
Yeah.
Then instead of being there for the weekend, which is just, it's really cool to have that experience. I just don't get that impression from what I've heard in Chicago, but I don't have any personal experience with that.
in Chicago, we're definitely not incentivized to go play tournaments. You know, Scott Mansinger, he's, you know, arguably one of the best players ever. And just last year, I was at his club and no one knew who he was. They had no clue. I go, you realize your pro is one of the best players ever? And they're like, no way, no idea. So in Chicago, they couldn't care less. You know, Marek Chavinsky, I think when he was like 3 or 4 in the country, when he left his club, a number of people came up to him because they wrote a nice bio on him, and they were like, we had no idea you were such a good player. They just not incentivized here in Chicago at all to go play tournaments or do anything. They generally don't care. So
yeah, that's crazy to me, you know, because I think a big part of my, you know, career success is attached to, you know, my paddle performance. That was something I knew at a very young age that, you know, when you look at the rankings, you look at the top 20 players in the country and almost all of them are directors at a club. And I saw that and I was like, man, this seems like a great way to, you know, continue to advance my career. And, you know, I don't think that, you know, Short Hills would have looked at me, you know, if I hadn't have had some success in the, you know, in the paddle tournaments, you know, because paddle is just such a important fabric of that club. And it's definitely a big part of the reason that we looked at, you know, we wanted to bring Vera to the club as well, is we, you know, we knew that she had a great paddle resume as well. And she's one of the top female paddle players in the country. And it's so hard to find, you know, top highly ranked female pros like that. I mean, those ladies, you know, they get great jobs, you know, anywhere on the East Coast. So, you know, that was a huge selling point for me, you know, looking to hire great pros as well.
Well, so in defense of Chicago, the one thing we do have is the best huts in the country. You have to
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
right.
I mean,
There you go.
It's crazy. Obviously, you guys, you guys saw, and you know, you spent a lot of time probably at Glenview, which is
Their hut's not that good there.
It used to be. It was the first like mega hut 23 years ago.
Well, I think they're 2 years away from doing a complete rebuild. That's going to be probably very impressive. But you know, some of the clubs in Chicago are just crazy. Where, you know, then you go to Cleveland. I think Cleveland has like one club now with running water inside their club in the hut, inside the hut. So, and that's not a knock on Cleveland. It's just, you know, most places aren't like that. Chicago's crazy.
It is a knock on. It is a knock on Cleveland.
You guys have amazing facilities there. And you know what? The Chicago Charities is one of my favorite tournaments because there's always a lot of people there, and the people that come, they're so friendly. You know, and they're just such nice people. And it's just always fun to play in front of a big crowd. You know, I think the quarterfinals at Chicago is, you know, right up there with, you know, some of the best paddle experiences, you know, in the country.
Yeah, I think it's top 3 or 5 nights of the year.
Yeah,
totally. I would put the New Jersey League Classic right up there.
As one of them.
With that, you know, but Chicago, we love going to Chicago.
Yeah.
We always have a great time there, and the
Did
people
you guys,
there are awesome.
Did you guys happen to come in for the men's league finals this year, which coincided with the start of nationals?
You know, I didn't know that was going on. But how does, I mean, I know you guys have I think you have the biggest, you know, paddle league in the country, right? So
they're like 20.
You guys do like a playoffs at the end of the season? Like what goes on?
the Wednesday before nationals. It's a Wednesday. Wednesday night. It was Wednesday. No, it doesn't know shit. Don't worry. He hasn't been in the final. No.
He must not have been in the finals, yeah.
But it's fun. Like I'm you know, generally I'm not going to play a match in front of 500 people. I did get to play a match in front of 500 people this year. But it's fun because the league finals is the same night that everyone's coming in for nationals for the Thursday for President's Cup or whatever it's called now. But yeah, that's one of the fun nights of the year, and whenever we host it in Chicago. But I do need to come out for the League Classic.
Yes,
for sure.
I think we're coming out this year. Did we get?
No. That's the last chance something.
Oh, is that Jersey with you guys?
Well, I don't know about where's the last chance at?
What club is that?
I don't know.
That's.
I was told it was a hot ticket to get, and we got invited somehow.
I think I mean I've heard about that tournament.
Yeah, Greg Robertson's.
Yeah, Greg.
Isn't that Last Chance?
Isn't that Last Chance?
Man,
Yeah,
I
apparently
thought
it's
the
only-
last
it's-
chance was in March, to be honest. But
Yeah. It is in March.
you know, I know the League Classic is in December.
Yeah, no, that's a great
Yeah,
tournament.
no, that's a great tournament.
I was out there.
So,
I was
you
out
know,
there.
we're super happy to have that. We always have the round of 16, the quarterfinals at Short Hills, which is very similar to the quarterfinals at the Chicago Charities. You know, and then I think the semis and finals are on a different night at Fairmont Country Club, which is definitely right up there with, you know, top huts that I've been to. But there's definitely the depth of nice huts is not nearly as deep in New Jersey as it is in Chicago. I mean, there's so many there. I feel like every time I go to a different club and I'm like, wow, this is just, I can't imagine getting to experience this on a regular basis.
I hear the key to the League Classic is get to the quarters.
Oh, it's the best, man.
Just
Yeah.
get to the quarters and then lose, and then you get to have a party the rest of it. Yeah.
You know, Short Hills is known for throwing a good party. So they love having the quarters there, and then, you know, having they have the bar open late, and you know, everyone likes to have a good time. So, you know, as much fun as all the Grand Prix are, I mean, you know, I would definitely put the League Classic as one of the best paddle experiences that I've ever had in my career.
Yeah, no, I was fortunate enough to be out there a couple of years ago to watch, because of course you can't play unless you're a league member. But I've got to say, I tell everybody, like, Short Hills, if you're going to go to one Grand Prix, is maybe the one to go to, because it's so cool, because you have so many other tournaments, you have so many people coming there, and I think the spectators that come out there are certainly very knowledgeable and appreciative too. So and plus Short Hills Club just does a great job hosting too.
No, totally. I think you know, they've done it for a long time, and, you know, like I said, everyone there, they're real serious paddle players, so they know all the players, they know about the pros, and they just love having good paddle there. You know, it's so interesting because at a lot of clubs that I've taught at, you know, having an exhibition match is like, you know, it's a big deal to like bring in the top pros, and, you know, it's not even something like we talk about at Short Hills because they just see so much good paddle on a regular basis. They're like, why would we have an extra match? You know, we're going to have the Invitational, we're going to have the League Classic. And I mean, we've had 100 people show up just to watch a league match on a Monday night before.
Yeah.
There was a match, I think not this year, but the year before, you know, where Puig and Wright were playing Zach Rosenau and I, and, you know, there's 100 people out there watching this match. And
Awesome.
I just remember I was like, wow, that would never happen in Westchester or Fairfield County, where you get that many people just on a Monday night to come watch a paddle match. But they love it.
They're there to watch Zach, obviously.
Obviously, no, they were all cheering for Zach. You know, and then Puig and Wright had some fans there too, I would say.
Yeah. You might have had a couple. Don't sell yourself short.
So when you guys have Short Hills, sorry, we'll get you out of here in a second. When you guys have Short Hills, do you enjoy being at your club or hate being at your club?
Go ahead, Vera.
I don't think I can.
Because you're in trouble.
Well,
That's right.
here's the thing. I didn't make it anywhere really far last year, so I don't think I even got to play at Short Hills. I think I would have like absolutely loved it. I definitely would have been nervous, like just generally nervous, but you know, having the club players see me play, and, you know, that was also the point in my competitive career where I wasn't on the live stream a lot and wasn't getting to the rounds where I was getting the big looks yet. Maybe not that I'm really getting them now, but I think just having the players that I coach come out and see, you know, that I know a little bit of what I do, and, you know, I can compete and hit the ball hard, like you guys said, and, you know, maybe do some other things well too. That's a huge part of it. So I would say when, you know, if this year I have the privilege to play at the club, I would love to. Obviously, again, it's not all just happy feelings. Definitely a little bit nervous to make sure that you're putting on a good show for your people. But I feel like I remember after, my day was done and we all came to watch Chris. I don't remember what round it was, but I think you guys were playing Juan and then Mark Parsons, maybe. So Raya Parsons, the court was packed everywhere around the court. Like people were on the screens. Like, I don't even understand how the guys were able to see the ball because the whole thing was packed. And I feel like, from the outside watching, it felt like it gave you guys more energy and like more motivation and more fuel, and kind of put the pressure on the other team. Like, wow, what the heck is going on here? Like, no one really is supporting us in this crowd. So that can be intimidating for the other team too. That plays to our advantage if we're talking strictly competition here. So that's something that I noticed in the past.
I think it's stressful to all the days before the tournament are very stressful. Trying to make sure that you get all the courts secured and the hut commanders and just the last minute changes that you just can't plan for. But we're really lucky. We have an awesome tournament committee here. And Brian Skinner has been our tournament director for the last few years. And, he really deserves all the credit when it comes to putting this tournament together, because he, just like we said before, our members are very understanding of, they want us to do well and they don't want to put too much on my plate, going into that, where I'm thinking about other things besides, trying to do as good as I can in the tournament. So, he's done a great job with that. When I get to the tournament, I really just get to show up and play and, focus on my matches. But playing the Short Hills Invitational, that was probably the highlight, one of the highlights of the season, because we had good results there like other tournaments, but to have so many people there watching, and my family actually flew out for that one. So my mom and my aunts and my grandfather all came as well. So to have them play and then see all of the members around that were cheering Felipe and I on, it was a really awesome experience. But Felipe definitely thought that I did not play as well because he said I was tight. So, he probably thinks that he would always tell you that I play better when the crowd is not rooting for us than when the crowd is rooting for us.
Oh, you like to be the heel.
It's really nice. One of the best paddle experience we ever had was 2 years ago in Chicago. We played Hughes and Powers in the quarters and we ended up winning and no one was cheering for us that day. I remember everyone was rooting for Hughes and Powers and that was incredibly motivating. That's kind of what it felt like, a couple days ago when we lost to Salazar and Nunez. We felt like we had a lot of fans there and maybe that motivated them that, so many people were cheering for us. But it's fun to be the villain sometimes, but at the end of the day, we're really lucky to have so many people that want to watch us play. So, to make it to the finals of the Invitational, and there's so many people rooting for us. We felt a lot of love there for sure. It was, definitely a moment I won't forget. And for my family to be there too made it, more special.
Well, Chris, someone who likes you and wants you to succeed, is it okay if I boo you next time you play?
Yeah, please do.
Okay,
Please do.
it's done with love. It's there to get you to win.
Help.
Yeah.
Felipe definitely likes being the villain more than the fan. I know that for a fact.
Well, I like you guys. I will definitely be booing next time you play.
Good.
You suck. Get off the court. Yeah.
If you tell, the more Felipe was talking to me the other day. We were drilling, and he, when we drill, we always play for money. We'll play cross court games, $20 a game, or down the line, and there's a lot of trash talking that goes on in these drill sessions, and his game always elevates the more I talk trash.
So that begs the question: if you do that every time, who usually wins, or who on balance?
I've won more money than Felipe has won in these drill sessions for sure.
Nice. Chris has got a brand new
confident
Porsche.
in that statement. But I know that Felipe would probably say it's a 50-50 if it happened. But unfortunately for him, I count every single time, so I have some numbers to back it up.
You have
but he definitely he was talking to me like, dude, like I feel like when you start talking smack, it really just elevates me, and I wish we could get some of that on the court. Like I wish, people, that sometimes someone would, like I play better when I don't like the person. So like, how do I get to that state sometimes when I do like the person that I'm playing against? Because there's so many people in the paddle community who are actually really likable guys. We really like, 99% of the guys that we play. So it's like, how do you get the best out of you without, getting that all the time?
You got to be like boxing where you have that pre-match stare down to really get fired up.
Roxy's a cold cat out there.
All right, guys. Well, it's late on a Monday night. So, is there anything you want to push, plug, promote before you get out of here?
Vera.
I mean, why do I always have to go first?
They want
Wait, I'll do it for you. They want to promote Masters, Noah, but they're scared of you.
No, it's all good, man.
We're a little hesitant, no, but I've had the pleasure of playing with the new Masters, the Edge Oval, Pro Oval Edge, whatever. Honestly, I don't even know the name. That's probably bad. That's not a good
terrible promotion.
Terrible promotion, but hopefully the fact that my tournament results so far are better than last season will speak for itself here. But Chris and I have been playing with this paddle, and I think it gives you like more spin and more airflow on your shots, and it's literally was sold out at our club. And I don't know, Chris, what do you think? A matter of like a few weeks, it literally like everyone wanted to try the new technology, and we literally have almost like a wait list of people who are waiting for us to get more of those, and everyone's hopping on the train of this new like oval hole technology. So that's kind of cool to see that, the game is changing and the equipment is changing with it as well. So that's something that I just wanted to give a shout out to.
I definitely think, all the new technology is really cool. I'm glad that they took away some of the rules on like, how big the holes can be on all this stuff. And I'm personally fascinated to see what all the different companies will do to improve their paddles. I really like the new M Pro Oval Edge. That one's really worked well for me, but I'm just a curious person, and I want to try all the different paddles and see, I want to see what they can do, now that there are less regulations behind it all. So I think it's going to be great for the game. Anything that speeds it up and brings more action, I think is positive.
No, I think it's good. The game needs more people like Noah and Dave Kajelson and, Juan and those guys for Skull and Mo Morrison for Midnight and, all that stuff. So I think it's all good. Hey, I've been rocking the M4. Tell me about those guys. They're awesome. I love this hat.
Well, Ben, that's a great looking hat. I can tell you this, that, Felipe and I's favorite clothes to wear, on the paddle court is M4 clothing. They're like, a new clothing company that specifically makes clothes for paddle players, and their big slogan is "What are you made for?" And we just really identify with that, and we feel like they're just making really comfy, simple stuff that feels great on the court, and we really support the brand. And Dirk Dunlap, who's the founder of the company, he's been really, really, really good to us. And I just think that he's doing it for all the right reasons. This is not the main goal for him to create this clothing company, but he just loves paddle and loves all the people that play it. And, this is something he's super passionate about. So we're really happy to team up with him and help him promote his products this year. And, hopefully, help grow a clothing company, specifically for paddle players. I think that's, so cool and so unique for sure.
Did he have to make extra short shorts for Felipe?
Yeah, they have to make them twice as short.
I got a funny story for you before we go. So I was asking Dirk before the tournament, I was like, I have a ton of long sleeves and t-shirts, but I don't have that many shorts for you guys, from you guys before this tournament. Like, could I get a couple pairs of shorts so I can wear my M4 clothing out there? And I kid you not, he sent me, they were like maybe 4-inch shorts. Like, I mean, they had to be like youth medium shorts. And I mean, I couldn't even put them on over my legs. Like they couldn't even get up. And I was like, I texted Dirk. I was like, dude, did you send these for Felipe or did you send these for me? Because, Felipe, this is probably right up his alley here. They're borderline cross country shorts. But for me, it's not quite. It's not going to cut it here. So I didn't get to wear my M4 shorts this weekend. I guess I got a little too big for them, but they definitely need some short shorts for my partner.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you putting up with all the shit show, terrible technical difficulties we had today. But you guys are the best, and we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much,
thanks, guys.
It's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Chris, I'm so sorry I offended you by saying you could only come on if you won the tournament. I really didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Well, I just don't think it's ever going to happen. So,
No, guys,
come on. Philly in a couple of weeks. There you go.
There you go.
Looking forward to it. Hopefully, we'll see you guys there.
Yeah,
we would love to have you guys on anytime.
Well,
We appreciate your time.
See you there. See you guys.
All right, sounds
All right,
good.
thank
See
you
ya.
guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.